Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and The Batman starring Robert Pattinson released an official trailer, proving that you can go from emaciated vampire to eviscerating vengeance. Director Matt Reeves has only shot like 25 to 30% of this film, and yet this trailer was so damn good, I just had to barf out an immediate reaction video. But now we're gonna get into what New Rockstars does best. Because like Batman, I too see the world as a crime scene filled with clues and visual details, only decipherable with an overactive imagination and an appreciation for psycho research walls. And in my pursuit, folks, I actually solved the Riddler's first riddle. I'm gonna decode it for you, and the secrets behind why this Nirvana song was chosen in this frame-by-frame breakdown of everything you overlooked in this Batman trailer, and my predictions for where this movie's going. Spoiler warning in case any of my sleuthing reveals too much. Honestly, it might. Let's get started. We open on a grisly murder, a victim's head taped up with the words "No More Lies" written on it. I love how these opening Warner and DC titles stagger the way duct tape does when you peel it off the roll. Warner brings you hope for the future. But I gotta say, this is what we call overkill. Like speaking from personal experience, you use maybe 1 or 2 pieces of tape if you want to shut up your captive. In this case, the killer saw the guy's whole face as a lie that needed to be stifled. The killer, Edward Nashton, Paul Dano. This movie's The Riddler. His green coat and green envelope are about as fan servicey as we're gonna get because this guy seems more inspired by serial killers in David Fincher's noir films like John Doe and Seven or the Zodiac, who of course was also a real life guy who could still be out there. Nah, we're pretty sure who it is. It's me. There's this chilling sound of a breath sucked through a mask. But notice how the victim's duct tape doesn't move near his mouth. This guy's dead. So this is the breath of the killer through his duct tape mask, wheezing after exerting himself to kill this man. Let's keep sleuthing.
From your secret friend, who?
We follow Jim Gordon, Jeffrey Wright, into the crime scene, but notice the apprehensive glances from the other cops on the way in, looking at us. They're sizing up the figure, following Gordon, Batman, putting us, the audience, in the boots of the world's greatest detective trying to decode this scene. Game on. Now, Reeves said this would be a year 2 Batman, not an origin story, but also not an older, grizzled Dark Knight Returns Batman. Meanwhile, there is a spin-off series in the works following Gordon's work with the Gotham PD. That will be a year 1 prequel showing how Gordon overcame pressure from these corrupt cops to forge this alliance with Batman. It was just announced that young actor Barry Keoghan is playing a role in the film. Now, the victim's hand is covered by a paper bag. Back in that first shot, he did have something on his left hand, maybe a ring telling his involvement with some other shady enterprises, one that the killer had to get by maybe cutting off the finger. Now, we gotta talk about the music here. Nirvana's Something in the Way. It echoes the grunge, lonely aspects of this version of Bruce Wayne, who does, in a way, trap animals and struggles to empathize with them. But there are 2 deeper layers of subtext to the song that make it an even creepier choice. See, Kurt Cobain claimed the lyrics were about a time he'd sleep under a bridge, but later biographers revealed that that river tide would have been too high for him to sleep under that bridge, and that Cobain was probably crashing at his friends' houses. So really, this song is about Cobain's inner loneliness, how he weirdly wishes he was homeless. Because yeah, that's kind of how depression works. You judge yourself for feeling the way you feel, and in a weird way wish that your circumstances were even worse than they are. Similarly, this is how Bruce's mind is. He has every resource to live comfortably. He has a home with Alfred, but yet he still chooses to be a loner in the night rain. But here's the even deeper reason. See, Something in the Way is the final listed track on the Nevermind album, but in most pressings, the song's moody acoustic chords fade into silence. And then you wait 10 full minutes of silence until a secret track comes out of nowhere, Endless Nameless. It's a violent outburst that really scares the hell out of you if you don't know what's coming. You think Something in the Way refers to something in the way of the loner lifestyle, but the song itself is literally that something in the way of how Cobain was really feeling inside. Just like how this Batman seeks a secret that you have to wait through an endless void to get to, and then it hits you with sudden violence that really comes from within your own soul. Reeves said that a big influence on his story was Darwin Cook's Batman Ego comic, which dives into Batman psychology and the Jungian archetypes that inspire the different pieces of his broken identity. But anyway, back to the crime scene.
Haven't a clue. Let's play a game. just me and you.
Yes, crazy newspaper wall, let's look at it. Okay, the Gotham Times and the Gotham Gazette report about Mayor Don Mitchell Jr. winning a historic third term, defeating opponent Bella Real, who in this movie is played by Jamie Lawson. So that likely makes this victim Gotham City's mayor, explaining why FBI agents would be on the scene. Lies written over it all suggest that Mitchell's election might have been rigged or believed to be, and that Riddler could be trying to expose that conspiracy. So we get the big clue here, Riddler's green envelope containing this card. From your secret friend. Who? Haven't a clue? Let's play a game, just me and you. The kind of card is this? Who gives Halloween cards? Why is a skeleton friends with an owl? Yeah, you wouldn't buy this off a stand. This must have been custom printed by the killer. And probably something much more than just a vague reference to the long Halloween comic issue that everyone says this movie's gonna be based on. The owl, I believe, is a clue pointing to the Court of Owls, the shadowy cult that runs Gotham City, recently revealed as the villains in the Gotham Knights game, who, I believe, could be behind this conspiracy that Riddler is trying to expose, with many secret friends who are now skeletons in their closets. More on this later. Because more importantly, the handwritten message reads, "What does a liar do when he's dead?" And then on the other side, a Zodiac-style string of glyphs that I have decoded, so let's code break this shit. Okay, the first thing you always look for is repeating symbols. So the third symbol shows up twice at the end, so it must be the same letter, right? Also, the second and the fifth are the same letter, the fourth and the ninth are the same letter, and the sixth and the seventh are the same letter. So a double letter at the end makes it a bit easy, because that means it's probably a consonant, S, maybe L, and that would mean the letter before it is a vowel. So you can apply this Wheel of Fortune, Scrabble type thinking, working backwards that way, while you look at the broader context. The cover of the card is a pun. The owl says who. So it follows that the answer to Riddler's question would also be a joke. So what does the liar do when he's dead? He lies still. Yep, pretty brilliant wordplay. That tells us something about the Riddler. He sees a liar like the mayor as still capable of embodying a lie in his death. And as we go through, we'll talk about how this riddle answer will affect the rest of the story. On to the next part.
Any of this mean anything to you?
Okay, framed on the mayor's wall is the headline, Maroni Drug Bust, Mayor's Sting Operation Historic. So in the DC comics, the Maronis are one of Gotham's crime families, with Sal Maroni, the guy who burned Harvey Dent's face with acid. The Maronis are rivals to the Falcones, with John Turturro playing Carmine Falcone in this movie. Now, I'll say this, it's a bit odd for a mayor to get the media credit for an organized crime bust. Normally that's a DA or police commissioner kind of win. So I'm thinking that the Falcones could have helped the mayor win re-election from an alliance in which the mayor took down their rivals, the Maronis. Okay, we see our Batman here. He's got a chest emblem that looks like it's made up of two removable weapons, maybe batarangs, maybe blades, and the handles of them look like they could be the split shaft of a handgun handle. One theory being that this could be the gun that Joe Chill used to kill his parents. Now he uses it as a reminder never to kill, just slice through people's necks and cave their skulls in.
I'm vengeance.
And I love how he's introduced with the photographer's camera recharge sound on the flash. THXC. Expressing Batman's disgust that a killer trying to get his attention is what caused all this. It's my fault. That's why those cops gave me the side eye. Vengeance! The truth is, it's a bit tough knowing what the right answer is. Just like when you're shopping online and there's that blinking cursor on the promo code field, and you just don't know if there's an answer out there that you should plug something in. Feel like you're missing out on great deals. Well, thanks to Honey, promo code FOMO code is a thing of the past. Honey is the free browser extension that automatically finds promo codes and applies them to your cart. So if you're shopping online at Target or GameStop, Domino's, wherever, when you check out, a little box drops down and all you have to do is click apply coupons. You wait a few seconds for it to scan promo codes from across the internet and you watch the prices drop. Like not too long ago, I was shopping for an herb garden planter for my little patio space and I found one on Target.com. Honey saved me over 10 bucks. I was gonna buy that planter anyways. But now I have a place for like bugs and gnats to grow civilizations on while I watch my plants die. And an extra $10. New Rockstars fans that have already downloaded Honey in the past using our promo code have already saved themselves almost $300,000. Can I get any of that? No, I can't because it's in your wallets. And don't you want to be one of those lucky people? Honey supports over 30,000 stores online, including Walmart, J.Crew, Newegg. If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out on free money. It's literally free and it installs in just a few seconds. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid in supporting New Rockstars. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/newrockstars. That's joinhoney.com/newrockstars. Let's move on with the rest of the trailer.
You're becoming quite a celebrity.
Okay, there's a press conference with actor Alex Ferns, we believe playing Police Commissioner Pete Savage. To Savage's right is actor Con O'Neill. Both played roles in HBO's Chernobyl. O'Neill played the cowardly local official. Ferns played a heroic miner who stripped down to nothing. I don't know, just worth pointing out because you can imagine maybe they were cast because those characters had certain values that they play really well and that they'll use in this movie. But we cut to a bit wider Bruce's external point of view on this press conference where we can see a very shaken Gordon and most likely the victim's grieving wife. We see Bruce's covered face showing black eye makeup around the eyes, something that Batman would need to hide his identity under the cowl, and something that past Batman iterations tend to shy away from, but I'm so glad they're sticking to it here. Bruce rides his bike through the cemetery that we saw in set videos, and then rolls up into the Batcave. Now this space is cavernous, and then a ramp leads up into it. It's got two huge stairs and an overhang that if you look closely reads Wayne Terminal, I want to say? Because maybe this is an abandoned subway station, with Bruce being able to use this grid to navigate Gotham underground, pop up wherever he needs to. Now, why would a city's public transportation network be abandoned? Well, it happens all the time. Just look at my hometown, Jacksonville, Florida's Skyway. I once used it to fight crime over 7 stops. One of those stops being between stops. I'm just saying it's hard to be Jacksonville's Batman when a firefighter has to cradle you down to safety. But actually, there might be a story here, because look at those moisture stains on the walls of the Batcave. Back in that crazy newspaper wall was another headline reading, "Seawall construction stalled." Now, Matt Reeves cited Chinatown as an influence on this mystery plot. Chinatown is about LA's water wars in the 1930s, the corruption behind urban irrigation and drainage. So it sounds like this could be an issue in Gotham too. Battles that were maybe resolved by the subway lines being flooded. That way, Bruce could secretly later drain some of them for his personal use. We hear Andy Serkis as Alfred cautioning Bruce on his rising celebrity status, something I assume that this year 2 Bruce doesn't really want yet. On to the next part.
Why is he writing to you?
Mayor Mitchell's funeral gets crashed, literally. Only Bruce stays in the line of danger to save a kid. I'm guessing this could be the mayor's son because I think the mom there was the woman outside the house. Really, anytime Batman meets a kid, the Robin speculation begins. And I did suggest some dark theories about how A. Dick Grayson could tie into the story in my other video. Go check that out. Now, the car appears to be tagged with the letters DOA, maybe for dead on arrival. The later overhead shot shows it's also marked with a Riddler question mark, with duct tape sectioning it off in the letterboxes. So I'm thinking the next clue in this mystery could be the car itself. But the driver of this car is also a victim. He is taped up and he has a neck bomb, a yellow clue, with a phone taped to his hand. And I'm thinking the voice of the Riddler that we hear later in this trailer is coming through this phone.
If you are justice, please do not lie.
Actually kind of similar to the way the Dark Knight Joker rigged people with explosives, also the way he targeted a past victim's funeral to make his next move. HBO's Watchmen also kind of did this. But all of this could be foretold by that "he lies still" clue, because it tells us that the Riddler does not plan to let the mayor get buried peacefully if his eulogies are still just gonna be lies about his legacy. Moving on.
If you are justice, please do not lie.
Okay, here we meet our Selina Kyle, Zoe Kravitz, not yet formally Catwoman, according to Matt Reeves, but a cat burglar sneaking into the crime scene and breaking into the mayor's safe. Batman later confronts her, so I'm thinking she must be connected to the skeletons in the mayor's closet and either plans to expose them or maybe make sure no one finds them. And then some deal is going down outside the City of Gotham sanitation, East Side Depot, and we know from TV that all characters who work in sanitation are really sanitizing and moving bodies. And indeed, later this deal appears to end in a shootout. And then in the rain there is who we are being told is this movie's Oswald Cobblepot, Penguin. Though I gotta say, this doesn't look anything like Colin Farrell. I know the actor gained some weight, but he is unrecognizable. They must have put on a ton of prosthetics. They definitely hooked out his nose and plumped out his chin. And if you look closely, you can see they definitely added a scar running from his cheek to right below his nose. And Reeves confirmed in the panel that Oz, as we're calling him, isn't yet the Penguin boss yet. And in fact, he doesn't like being called the Penguin. And then we see this gang with white skull makeup, crosses, extended skeleton-like smiles. Kind of reminds me, weirdly, of that street gang for Batman Forever. Some are saying the white face makeup could be a connection to the Joker, but honestly, I hope not. We have seen plenty of the Joker. Can we please take a break from the Joker? I love the character. There's just so many other rogues gallery people we need to explore, like Riddler, like Court of Owls. We get a quick shot of Bruce working with his suit and his cowl in this red lit space. Kind of like that initial screen test. I'm actually thinking since Reeves was only working with limited footage from the movie that he shot so far, that they might have mixed in some of that early test footage close-ups of the suit in this trailer. And then Batman scuffles with the GCPD. Gordon has to to hold him back. Very interesting example of the hostile rivalry between these authorities. On to the next part.
What is the price for your blind eye?
Okay, during Batman's fight with Selina Kyle, she wears a ski mask with pointed corners for the cat ears. The mask does pretty little to cover her face. It's really just her nose and cheeks. Why cover only those parts? Maybe because she has a distinguishing scar on the same place that Oswald Cobblepot does. And then we see the neck bomb victim actually detonates. Yikes! It blows Batman off his feet. And you can see they tried to use a bomb diffusing robot to take care of it, but Nashton probably would have demanded the Batman. And the voice of Nashton asks,
What is the price for your blind eye?
suggesting a kind of reckoning for Batman and the police for overlooking corruption in their own city. But the key word there is blind, as in blind as a bat. Maybe a reference to that final riddle in Batman Forever.
You're as blind as a bat!
Whew, when it comes to Riddlers, we have come a long way, my friends.
Spank me.
But yeah, here, blind is clearly a dig at Batman for being too focused on nighttime crime that in the broad daylight, he is blind to the crimes committed by city leaders. Next.
The hell are you supposed to be?
I'm vengeance.
Yeah, you are. The combat here is brutal. Batman blocks a machete blow. You'll notice his gauntlets are lined with quills. Some are saying similar to the DC vigilante Talon, who works with the Court of Owls. But yeah, during the fight, you can definitely hear the guy's jaw break when Batman hits him in the face. And then even after the KO, he hits him twice more. This is so intense that I love this. The reaction by the other gang members, one of them clearly has tears in his eyes from the fear. And right when we assume Batman's gonna say,
I'm Batman. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Good afternoon, Mr. Glee. I'm Batman.
we instead get this great misdirect.
I'm vengeance.
But this isn't random. It actually echoes the classic three-line phrase from the Nothing to Fear episode of the animated series.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
Almost like Matt Reeves knows that for many of us, the truest Batman is the voice of Kevin Conroy. And I do hope that this Batman says all three parts of that phrase throughout this movie. Maybe I am vengeance against the street gang, then I am the night against Riddler or Penguin, and then the final, I am Batman against the true villains, but more on those in a bit. Let's move on. Whoa! This guy's crazy! We get some sick shots of this movie's new Batmobile, which is a muscle car with an exposed engine that burns blue, so you know it's hot. It smashes through a pipeline in the pursuit of Oz, and then Batman takes a few gunshots, one to the chest from the gang, and he recoils from the impact, and it looks like it ricochets the bullet to the thug behind him. And then the shot of Batman slinging up a stairwell past cops who fire at him. Yeah, the hostilities are gonna get pretty intense. And then finally, the red title. Notice how it briefly gives the second A in the word a Batman cowl as it forms together. And then inside the word is the bat chest emblem, where you can see the points where it latches onto the chest armor. Maybe those are hinge points where the blades could retract like pocket knives, which I have demonstrated via arts and crafts. I'm very proud of my work. And then the final bit.
You're part of this too.
How am I part of it?
You'll see.
So in the Batcave, Bruce removes the cowl as he watches a video on this screen. It's hard to tell, but it looks like the figure talks and then some text lays over them as it shifts to black and white. Now, I want to say this could be Bella Real, the mayor's rival, because this looks kind of like the editing of a political ad. Can you really trust this person? Paid for by the committee to re-elect Don Mitchell Jr. Now, it could also be a video riddle of the Riddler's next target, but I don't know. This Riddler seems more into duct tape and flesh clues than, ones made in iMovie. But the exchange between Bruce and Nashton is the interesting part, implying that Bruce himself is part of this murder conspiracy. Matt Reeves said that this Batman will show a younger Dark Knight's failed criminological experiment in the city that results in a mystery that implicates his own family's role in the city's history of corruption. I have a feeling that we're gonna learn a lot more about Thomas and Martha Wayne's possible involvement in the Court of Owls cabal of elites in the city of Gotham, a conspiracy that could connect the recently murdered mayor, the criminal organizations of the city, and the true source of the rot in Gotham that Nashton is trying to expose, and that Batman will have to rip out the rot of the Court of Owls in the next movie. Look, we're gonna continue talking about this movie and doing deep dives into all the biggest news coming out of DC FanDome. Our breakdown of that Snyder Cut trailer is coming next on the channel, and to see our coverage right away when it comes out, be sure to subscribe to New Rockstars and hit that notification bell. And for our more personal takes on all this stuff, New Rockstars has an awesome Discord community for our patrons of all tiers, even $1 a month. Just go to patreon.com/newrockstars. You can follow me on Instagram at Erik Voss, follow New Rockstars, and be thankful this trailer actually edited down Batman's real beatdown. Bye.